What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. It is Monday, a new week, January 23rd, 2023. Hope you're all having a great day wherever you are. We are back, as always, new day, new money here on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. I am your host, Jeff Nadu, and Kelly in Vegas is back. Kelly's going to join us a couple of days this week, and we got a lot to talk about, plus a kind of interesting Monday card. You got some games to actually delve into. It's not just SWAC and MEAC and Summit League. You get some big time games, whether it's Mountain West, the Big 12, the ACC. How are you, Kelly? How did the weekend treat you?
Oh my God. Saturday was horrific. Could not have gone any worse. We did the spaces with Megan. I was feeling pretty good about everything. And then 0-5. But I did hit my best bet in the NFL. This is where it's hard for me because college football really is my bread and butter. I can't tell you the last time I went 0-5 or 0 for a period in college football. It's the second time it's happened to me in college basketball. Unfortunately, both times on a Saturday. I think I went 0-3 right before I went to St. Croix. Then I went on a tear while I was gone. When I was in Kansas, went 4-0. Come home. Guess what? 0-5. Had a little bounce back on Sunday. Nice little 2-0 with some Big Ten underdogs. Almost virtually no sweat. No outright winners, but didn't need it. But yeah, I'm good. Happy Monday. Just finished money shots and ready to look forward to this weekend. Honestly, the NFL card looks awesome.
Yeah, I knock on wood, I haven't had one of those bad days yet in conference play, at least. Friday I won, had VCU. That was the last time I was on this show. My favorite play on Saturday was one that I told you guys. I like that Gonzaga over. That was like an NBA game. So
it was great.
But yeah, NFL. So we have the stage set: NFC title game, AFC title game. You and I think I talked to you about this. I really like the Bengals. I didn't really understand that line, to be fair. And no, I told Megan and Steven that on the show the other day. I didn't get that one. I didn't understand why they were getting 6. And we continue to see they are very good on the road. Okay, they have just a different penchant when they go away from home. They're going to have to go on the road again. They're going to have to go to very cold Arrowhead. These are the two best quarterbacks in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. You look at the other game, you have, could we say, possibly the third best quarterback in the NFL, Jalen Hurts, against the upstart Brock Purdy. You have two terrific games here. I told you, I was kind of hoping as a fan, I wanted them to feed me Dallas in Philadelphia. However, when I look at this game, at least the NFC game to start, my first inference is I thought 1.5 was low, man. I would have put it 3, maybe 3.5. I think when the rubber really meets the road, I mean, here's the tease. These two teams are very similar. Very few flaws on both teams, but the major flaw and the major difference is you have Jalen Hurts and you have Brock Purdy, and you have a situation where, yeah, Jalen Hurts has never played in a game maybe to this magnitude in the NFL, but Brock Purdy has really never done any of this. He's a rookie. He's a guy who was drafted essentially last in the entire draft. It's going to be a tall order. And that's, I think, the major difference, the advantage the Eagles have.
Yeah, you're going to hate me. I love the Niners this week. They're going to be my best bet. And that's because we don't need anything from Brock Purdy. We didn't need anything from Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance for that matter. This defense is the real deal. And I told Megan on Money Shots today, I go, man, they remind me of that Broncos defense when Peyton Manning basically limped out there with his glove on and the Broncos defense just absolutely obliterated the Panthers. And that was a Panthers team that was very dominating. And there was a lot of speculation about the Broncos being slight underdogs in that game and what happened. And that's what this game reminds me of. I cannot believe both teams have been on an absolute tear. Now, the reason why the Eagles haven't, and Mincy said this just a minute ago, and I was like, oh my God, you're so right. It's almost like the Eagles gaslit us and was like, they just kind of like half-assed it there for a couple weeks. Oh, we don't want to get Jalen hurt, Mm-hmm. The whole world, I was not one of them, was on the Giants the other day, and I teased the Eagles. I will admit it, I wussed out. I played the squarest teaser possible, and that was because it was available to me. And I said, Eagles are not losing this game. Did I think we were going to see a little bit more from the Giants? Yeah, sure. They were getting back 3 guys on defense. I was there in East Rutherford for week 14. Jeff, I saw the ass kicking. You know what I didn't do? Sit outside and watch anymore, but I sat inside the suite with Sabrina and watched Red Zone because it was far more entertaining than the obliteration that was happening on the field. And then it happened again. The Eagles look good, and they have been dominant. They've been really great against the spread as of late. This is going to be a knockout, drag-out fight. I'm trying to be a giant wuss again and tease the Niners. The problem is right now I don't have anything to tease them with because I do not tease totals. But Giants over a touchdown, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Probably not how you want to see it from a fan perspective. 24-23, 21-17, 17-16, something just ugly. And the team who is the better offense is clear. We know that's the Eagles. This is going to be one of the better defenses they've faced all season long. I think this is going to be the better game. I know everybody is excited about the one taking place in Arrowhead because it's going to be far more electric, if you will. But I'm not sure it is. I think that this is going to be a really great. The NFC Championship is, I think, going to be one to write home about.
Well, one thing I agree with you on is I agree. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I don't have any reason to believe this is going to be a 31-30 type of game. That said, we hear all the time, and I've said for weeks, this is a terrific San Francisco defense. They just have, just Fred Warner, Greenlaw, all these guys that could just, they're great. That said, I don't know if anybody knows, but did anyone watch the Eagles defense on Saturday? They were shut down.
I've been watching them all year long.
They're dominating. They're the best pass defense in the NFL. And
which does concern me about Brock.
I'll tell you one thing. That I saw that Dallas pass rush. We saw first play of the game. They got to Purdy very quickly. This is an Eagles defense that is very opportunistic. I think it's a flip game, but I think it's interesting that initially the line was bet up. I think a lot of people are going to be on board with you. I think a lot of people are going to say, well, better defense. Remember, though, it is a road game for San Francisco. You got an extra day for the Eagles. You don't have to travel here. All that stuff in a coin flippy type of game, I'm going to lean on the home team. Now, I think it is a close game. I don't think it's going to be a 2-touchdown blowout or anything like we saw on Saturday night, but I just think there are one or two pronounced things that I think the Eagles are the better team with. And I've always said, if I think the Eagles are going to lose, I will tell you. I think this is a very good spot for them. I think
this is definitely the Eagles game to lose.
Absolutely.
I do. I think if it will be a turnover, it will be something wonky on defense. They give up a big play. I don't think this is going to be a runaway game by any means. I agree with you. I think this is the Eagles game to lose. They haven't been on the road for over a month now. They obviously do well at Lincoln Financial. We've seen it. They do even better with Jalen Hurts as 100%. They've only lost one game this year when he was under center for the entire game. My thing is this: Brock Purdy. Come on, the ceiling has been reached. When's the bottom going to fall out? And I said, I told you yesterday. When we talked about the Dallas game, I said I am not betting against the Niners until further notice. I got smoked there about week 9, week 10, and I was like, all right, I'm done. Mercy.
I got to tell you, and I sat there, watched every play. I got to tell you, I was not impressed by him yesterday. I thought regression hit him pretty hard. He had 3 interceptions that were just dropped straight up. Now,
so who would you give the coaching edge to?
I think it's a flip. I think both are very good. I will say, if you're going to tell me I could have D'Amico Ryans as my defensive coordinator or John Gannon, I'm leaning on Ryans personally. That said, I think it's a wash. I think you also look at, and I thought the defining play in that game yesterday was that Kittle circus catch. If he didn't make that catch, I don't know if they win the game. That's
a very good point.
There were it was a game that was very much one play here, one play there. And let's also ask ourselves, if Tony Pollard doesn't go out, is it a different game? I just think when you look at the Eagles, and I know a lot of people don't want to admit it because they don't like the Eagles, and that's fine. But you'd be hard pressed to find a team that's been more complete this year than them. Okay.
And from start to finish.
Yeah.
They were. I remember I went to my girlfriend's birthday party like 3 days before NFL Week 1. She's from Philly, huge Eagles fan. She's like, Kelly, can you bet for me the Eagles to win the Super Bowl? I said, sure. Send me a Venmo. I didn't know what she wanted, $50, $100, whatever. She's not going to be betting dimes and nickels, that's for sure. And then she never sent me the Venmo, and I just forgot. We're drinking, we're eating food, not paying attention. I kid you not, I see her week 6 when I get back to Florida, and she's like, "Hey, did you put in that Eagles bet for me?" I'm like, "Oh no, you never even Venmo me. How was I supposed to remember?"
Remind me, yeah.
And now she's ready to kill me. I just saw her the other day, and she's like, "Dude, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl." And I go, "That's your fault, not mine." And
no, I will say,
and they have not looked bad besides the couple of Gardner Minshew games.
In her case, and I think, and I'm not afraid to say this either, if they do get past this week, they, against the Chiefs, that'll be a great kind of storyline, right? Andy Reid, you know. I mean, and I'll again say this. I mean, I know people don't want to hear this, but in the last 20 years, in the NFC, has there been a more dominating team? The Eagles have been to 7 NFC title games. Remember that. It's been a very solid, good football team for a lot of years. And, it's going to be a tough game to beat the AFC team, but I think here, and, I don't know if they'll win by double digits. This guy says double digits. I think the regression is starting to come. And look, do I like McCaffrey and Debo and Kittle? Sure, they have a great offensive line, but in the end, so do the Eagles, and they have Jalen Hurts, who is not just a run-in-the-mill, prove-it kind of guy. This is a top-level guy in the NFL. He's a
Did you see the storyline about the last time these two played when Hurts was at Oklahoma and Brock Purdy was at Iowa State? I just thought that was kind of an interesting.
That's a good point.
You're talking about these storylines. I think it's just.
I'll give you one other one. Here's a good storyline for you. The Eagles have been shut out in a playoff game once in the history of the franchise. 1996, the 49ers shut them out 14-0.
Wow.
And the quarterbacks that day were Steve Young for the Niners.
Yeah, of course.
And for the Eagles, it was Ty Detmer. Ty Detmer threw
I forgot all about Ty.
He threw 2 interceptions in the red zone. And Brett Rippon came in, or Mark Rippon, not Brett Rippon. Mark Rippon came in, threw an interception as well. And the Eagles were shut out. And according to the guy, Reuben Frank, who put this out, he's an Eagles beat writer. He said it was the most disgusting game to watch ever recorded. So that's the last time they played.
I had to just Google this because I was like, wait, I remember Ty Detmer. And Ty Detmer was the BYU quarterback who beat K-State in 1995 in the Cotton Bowl. Yeah. I just Googled it. I was like, why do I remember that name? Hopefully I was somewhere in middle school cheering wildly against the Eagles because that's a great stat.
Yeah, I remember. He was a pretty damn good college quarterback, I believe.
That was such a painful game. God, it was terrible. That Cotton Bowl was absolutely terrible. And then he goes off and tries to make something of himself in the NFL, and that was about all she wrote after that Niners game.
Also, real quick, on the level of just this, there's this guy in the comments. He keeps asking me. I hate these types. Who have they played? So
they play who's on their schedule.
Right. But remember this. I'm going to throw facts, Kelly. As far as strength of schedule, according to predicted win totals, do you know where the Eagles sit?
I do not.
Second.
Okay.
So they have played a lot of good teams. And that said, also, this game, you mentioned turnovers. These two teams are top 4, I believe, in turnover margin. So,
yeah, they actually do. I just looked up Warren's. I have a subscription to Warren's stuff because he sends a Bible this thick for the NFL season. And you're right. They were number 2 strength of schedule to start the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask
I'm sorry. You. No. I'm so sorry. They were the number 2 with the easiest schedule.
To
start the season, right?
Right. Where are they now?
Granted, where it is shift to now. Yes, correct. So I get where he was initially coming from because initially it looked like, oh yeah, they should go flying over us.
Here's the thing, though. They don't decide that.
The New York Giants. How come nobody's asking who the Giants played? I mean, that could have been the argument last week.
Nobody picks who they play.
That's what I'm saying. It's you play who your schedule is, whether it's college,
with
NFL,
the exception
NBA.
Of Tampa and Seattle. Who the fuck have the 49ers played in the last 10, 11 games? Nobody. So the NFL this year was not a good league as a whole. Like it was a bad NFC. That's not the Eagles' problem. The Eagles have done what they've done. And again, we heard about this with TCU. Now they ultimately lost in the title game, but they got no respect. Look, some of these people, this guy's probably a Cowboy fan, and his tears, boy, they have to suck, don't they? That has to suck, Ryan. You're probably so upset. I feel bad for you.
Poor
AFC quick.
Cowboys fans. God, it's got to just be demoralizing
Fuck.
year after year. At least I know the Broncos are going to suck, and then every decade and a half they're going to go fuck around and win a Super Bowl. At least that's the way it's been my entire life.
Dak Prescott is a loser. Jerry Jones is a
Okay, wait,
loser.
time out. How much are we really blaming Dak for that loss?
A lot. He said.
Dak has turned the ball over a ton, and I got a couple
turns.
people fact checking me this on Twitter with and Brandon Walker's mentions saying a couple of things. And listen, 50% of those interceptions were his fault. And then the other ones you could blame a tipped pass, you could blame a receiver running the wrong route, whatever. I'm going to blame a lot more, and I said this on Money Shots just a few minutes ago, on Kellen Moore. This is the thing. You have Cooper Rush and you have Dak Prescott. What did Kellen Moore do with Cooper Rush? He kept him in his little box and said, okay, we don't want him to make any mistakes. And they won football games. He's out there running Dak ragged, making plays, throwing off his back foot. For what reason? Dak is not some high-level elite quarterback game manager, Kellen. What are you doing?
Yeah, put in bad spots. And I also think about those poor people, those saps on Christmas Eve that were so happy because they beat the Eagles with Gardner Minshew in. Shut the fuck up, you fucking goofs. By the way, the other game, quickly. Listen, no, you're not surprised. We know they're a good team. Nobody said they weren't a good team. I'm aware they're a great team. It's the playoffs.
I'm on the Niners. Listen, maybe you didn't say it was going to be a blowout. He literally
said
he thinks it's going to be a knockout, drag-out, awesome game. We both think it's going to be low scoring. I think that the Niners getting 2.5 is too many. He never even said he was going to bet the Eagles.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten there with it. The other game, to be honest, I'm going back to the well. Call me crazy. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but right now, early on, I love the Bengals. I like this team. I just do. I've had a good read on them. They're great as a dog. They're great on the road. But, the one thing that sticks out of my mind, but it's not as pronounced due to the fact they did not have Tyreek Hill. And that's a little, always in the back of my head. They're still really good, though. And I hate betting against Patrick Mahomes. I might sit this one out. But I got to tell you, you're talking about teasers. I mean, how do you not tease them up to 7.5 and just say, just hoping this is close again?
Yeah, this one keeps flip-flopping. And right now it's Pick'em at Barstool. And so I can't. Trust me, I think this is going to be a really close game as well. I think this is going to be awesome. I slightly lean towards the under, but there is no chance in hell with that Chiefs defense. I'm taking the under. I took it last weekend against the Jags, and it looked terrifying for the first 10 minutes. And then Patrick Mahomes unfortunately got hurt, and then I got to breathe a little bit. Did I cash that under because of that result? Maybe, maybe not. Shout out Doug Peterson, who got the backdoor cover for everybody who had the Jags, because the Chiefs don't cover games, and they haven't for basically the last 2 seasons. They've been on a freaking roller coaster ride. And you know who does really well, not only on the road, but as an underdog? The Bengals. Joe Burrow as an underdog is just ridiculous.
Ask yourself this. In the last 3 meetings, guess what the record is of the Bengals against the Chiefs?
They own the Chiefs.
3-0.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know this.
Games.
I was on the Bengals last year. I was at Barstool River North for this weekend, hosting a party, just having an absolute and utter miserable time because I was on the Bengals, just miserable. And here they came roaring back because that Chiefs defense is a liability. And it's been a liability basically since they got exposed versus Tampa in the Super Bowl. Let's be honest.
Listen, I said before the season, I wrote a blog that the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yes. I thought they made some just terrific moves to shore up their offensive line a bit. I think defensively they're super underrated. They're a lot like the Eagles. I think people don't necessarily give them the credit. You want to talk about the Niners or someone else, but I really like this Bengals team. And I'd have a hard time in the Super Bowl if that was the Super Bowl match, because I love Joe Burrow. I think he is the class of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, they're just – look, I hate Joe Mixon. It's hard to root for a woman abuser like him. But,
fair enough.
But that said, they're really just – I like them. I think they're a group that, they were there last year. They've been there. They're close. I think it'd be a great matchup either way. But, if you're going to give me an underdog price, I'm leaning that way. That said, we have all week to talk about this. Let's get into this card today. And Kelly, at least in your case, you want to bounce back. So let's see if we can't find something. Last time you came on here, I believe you won.
Yes.
Jake Koopman says you need to come back to River North.
I love Jake. It's actually a really fun spot. I'm a big Chicago fan, as everybody knows. I have a lot of family from there. But I had an absolute ball, and then also be able to have the Niners plus 2.5 lose by 2. Just storybook ending. We had a great time.
Well, not that you're telling me to come there, but I will actually be there.
You're going to go?
Yeah, I'm actually going there for their Valentine's Day party.
Okay.
February 13th to the 15th. So I'll be out in Chicago for a couple of days. I'm
looking for some broads.
Yeah.
You and White Sox Dave, are we gonna have a broad off?
Well, we're working on some ideas. I also wanted to promote a bit. Check out the recent rivalries draft that we put out today. Me, Rico, Captain Cons, Eddie.
I watched that this morning.
Chief, yes. Had some fun.
You guys, Rico's face that they clipped, I had to laugh. I was like, oh boy. You guys have to remember, me and Rico are a lot alike. We're both, I'm just a little bit older than him, so I've learned how to hide my hot-headedness a little bit better. But boy, I was like, oh shit, he's going to lose it in the first 30 seconds. Let's go.
He actually was very complimentary to me. He stuck up for me a few times. But yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. So check that out. All right, let's get into a couple of games here tonight. First of which, Northwestern is hosting the Wisconsin Badgers. This one's been 3, 2.5. It's kind of settling in around there. We haven't seen Northwestern. They have been off since January 15th. It's been some COVID pauses. They've been one of the teams that have kind of been affected by that. Wisconsin's been in and out with injuries. Tyler Wall was injured for a bit. They didn't play well without him. In fact, they were 0-3. They didn't cover the last game due to him being out for a period of time. But, I didn't ultimately get there with this one. I think for me, there's a thing in my head that I just kind of have always told myself, I don't like betting against teams like Wisconsin. They're just not a team that very much mess up or do anything dumb. They don't turn it over. They're a pretty good defensive team. They have good basketball IQ athletes, smart kids, and they're just a tough nut to crack. That said, Northwestern's been damn tough as well. And I think the only time for me that I want to bet Wisconsin is at home. That's a tough place to play. But I've always said when you have these types of games, I think sometimes you just have to say, well, who's the better team here? If you're going to give me 2.5, 3 with whiskey, gun to my head, I'd probably take them here. Maybe you live a little rust, all for 8 days with Northwestern. Maybe try to sneak out a first half cover here and just say, well, maybe they have a couple of minutes where they struggle and Wisconsin's up at the half and this one's close in the end and they lose. I don't know. Tough game. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Ty. We need to stop with this pausing bullshit, but that's just a whole nother debate. But it is Northwestern, and they get to do what they want as far as their scheduling and things like that go. Listen, Northwestern was a fun team to back as an underdog, particularly at home, and I enjoyed them. Now, you're saying, are they a little rusty? I don't know. What have they been doing? Have they been allowed to practice this whole time? Have they been isolated? Have they been forced to stay in their dorm room or stay at home over Christmas? I don't really know. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me a little weary because I would love to say Northwestern, because what you just said, Wisconsin on the road has just not been as great. They've been able to hang in there in some of those games, particularly like Indiana. We just saw them not hanging there. They got beat up on the road versus Illinois and Indiana. Then they got a nice, win, didn't get the cover against Penn State. But this team plays slow, and they're methodical, and they are boring. And my concern is taking Wisconsin here. Maybe Northwestern's not that rusty. Maybe they've been in the gym banging out threes because that right there is the deciding factor for me. And that's not something that I can exactly handicap right now. Are they going to be hot from three? Northwestern, you know what they do? They cover games and they win big when they hit monster threes, which is far and few between. And so I'm with you here without knowing a little bit of background as to how much practice, et cetera, this team has had. I don't think I want to get involved here. And that's kind of how I feel about the total too. Maybe they are a little rusty. And while this looks like a dead on under game, ooh.
I mean, interestingly enough, last year it was 82-76, this game. It was up and down. But yeah, there's just too many outlying factors where I just don't want to really be involved with it. Like I said, if I had to play it, I'd lean whiskey, but it won't be on my card personally. Interesting one here as well. Same number. Virginia Tech is laying 2.5 against the Duke Blue Devils. Total is 137.5. I have to admit, on Saturday, I had some another team that continues to make money for me is Clemson. I played Clemson in this game on Saturday. I took the money line, hit a banger at 9 seconds ago, won the game. Duke,
I laid it with Duke on
yeah,
Saturday.
I liked it
And
as
they
well.
had moments where I was like, okay, they're going to pull away. They're going to pull away.
They didn't pull away.
Sucked right in. They could never pull away. And that really bothered me. I will say this. Our boss tweeted earlier that he calls this a lightning bet, which means that he is going to fade himself, essentially. He said that he looks at something, he goes, that looks like a great bet. And then he gets struck by lightning and comes to a realization that he should bet the other side.
Well, actually, I think when you really look at this game, if I'm playing it, it's Va Tech or nothing to me.
Yes.
I think this line screams Va Tech.
Oh, absolutely does. But they've lost 7 in a row.
Yeah, but remember, I mean, and I've talked about this, there might not be a team that is more variant based than Virginia Tech. It's just how they play. I mean, they shoot so many threes. They're really kind of generally a slave to making them. They've created, though, some other ways to score, which I think is a bit helpful here. They need Hunter Couture to play well. They're at home, obviously. That's a great building. It's a great atmosphere. I actually agree with Dave. It's weird that he calls it a lightning bet because I know what a lightning bet actually is.
What a real lightning bet is, yes.
Yeah, it's a gnarly wager that you played in. I'm not even going to say where because I don't want to get in trouble. But
yeah, you can't say that out loud.
I've done that before.
You don't want to get a text from Westy, okay?
Well, I've gotten them before.
I swear, Nadu and I stay on the shit list.
Yes. Well, yeah, because we've talked about it. We've been in this game a long time. I've seen it all. So, but yeah, that said,
you got good stories to tell, but some of them maybe aren't good to be told on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube channel. You know what I do look at here, though? Is this total a little high? I know that you just said that Virginia Tech can definitely bang down some threes, and we've seen Duke show some moments of greatness, not against Miami, of course, but against teams like NC State, they get blown out. They get beat up on by Clemson, which you and I were both on 2 weekends ago. They haven't put up a ton of points, at least not over basically since conference play started.
You also have a game where the tempo in this game is going to be walking up. I mean, this is a slow end up and, it's not going to be up and down. You're going to walking up the court. You're going to be creating offense in the half court. Duke tries to live on the glass. They're just not very good on the road. I would lean with Dave here. I would lay it as well. But I hate to be selective, but there's just not many games tonight that I really liked.
I think I got to take the under. I'll tweet it out after this, but I think I just sold myself at least.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think for me, like I said, it's a tough card. I have one game that I'll play here in just a second, but another one that just screamed kind of tough to me here. This is the big one of the night, probably, right? Baylor and Kansas. Baylor laying 1.5, total is 149. I thought the surprise of the week was Kansas. Call me crazy. I didn't expect that to happen. TCU is feeling themselves. They're starting to find their way. And Kansas, I heard someone on ESPN say this. They said, if Grady Dick is not playing well and Jalen Wilson is not scoring, where does the offense come from in this team? Okay. They're not very deep. They don't go much on the block. They don't have that as a week A Embiid type of player. They're just really a lot of the time just running around and hoping Jalen Wilson can bail them out on a big shot. Baylor, we've kind of seen them. They've had success. They've not had success. But you look at the guards, they have Keontae George, Flagler, guys like that. When they're in the lineup, they're very effective. It's kind of, I think, an important game for both. Do we really think Kansas is going to lose 3 in a row?
That's the question of the night. I'll be honest with you. When we did our spaces on Saturday, I think Megan said she had TCU plus 7.5, and I missed the number. And I was like, and of course my 2 leans win, and the 5 I give out lose. That's how it works for me, and I should just not do that anymore. I should just give it all out and play it all. But that being said, this is tricky because The last time I bet against Baylor was January 11th versus West Virginia, and that game was not as close as the final score indicates. Baylor basically just dominated both sides of the ball, and that's what they do. That's what this team does. I made a joke earlier and said, did K-State break KU? Because I had that TCU game was actually worse than the final score indicates, and they won by 23 at Allen Fieldhouse. We sat right there on the spaces and said, I'm not in the business of betting against this team at Allen Fieldhouse, and I missed the number. I have to stay away. I could not believe how dominant the Horned Frogs were. Granted, they did pretty much the same thing to my Wildcats down in Fort Worth, but at Allen Fieldhouse, it says a lot. Bill Self kind of having a conniption, you know. I watched him at the K-State game and then the TCU game when they pan to his face and he is just bright red. I'm like, he's not well. This is not a good team. You nailed it. They only have really two key players that are going to be the deciding factors for this team. Flagler being back and being 100%, Cryer being back, being 100%, Bridges being back, being 100% is huge for Baylor. Now, on the flip side, we've talked about this Baylor team and what I thought they were missing maybe to start the year. And I think his name was Jerome Tang. Now, have they kind of worked through some of that? It appears so. Do I really want to lay over 2 with this team? No.
Is it over 2 now? Wow.
Well, it was, last I looked on the Barstool Sportsbook, it was 2.5. And I assumed it came down because you put 1.5 on the screen. So I'm going to pull it open right now.
Sometimes I do these an hour or two before I.
Hey, no worries. I kind of wonder now. This is not normally my style, but I kind of wonder here if maybe the play isn't Baylor money line. That's now plus. It's now -2 or -134.
I'll tell you right now, and I'm going to say this till the fucking cows come home. If I like a favorite at 2.5 or less, I'm done laying points. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've had it.
I've had a lot of people ask me why I don't. Now, when I bet the dog, let's say I bet like K-State the other night, I had +2.5. I landed in Kansas. I wanted to bet at the Barstool Sportsbook, so I bet the other half of my bet on the money line. And I think that might be the way to go. But now as far as the favorite on the other side, I'm not going to lie to you. Laying over -130, even getting into 140, it makes me grossed out. And obviously the money lines can vary wildly, even if a team's a 1-point to a 3-point favorite, because of, I think a lot of people don't realize this. When you're bookmaking, like straight up what they did back old school Vegas, those two things are not always correlated. Just because they're a 1.5-point favorite doesn't mean they're -125. So everybody needs to remember that. It goes based on the number of bets. The more people that bet Baylor money line, the higher that line's going to get jacked. And it may stay stagnant at 1.5.
Here's what you do. And Donnie Wright said I used to do this once in a while if we had a game like this. We play our 130 and we find the biggest number on the board, money line, and just parlay it with Baylor and get it to like 106. It's not going to lose. We just, the other.
Yeah, listen, I get it. It's just not my style, but I totally get why people do that.
Because I don't want to lay 130 either. So it's like if I could lay 104 instead of 130 and I just need like some team to blow out some shitty team, that'll happen. So I don't know. I would look, someone just had to lay it. I would lean on laying it here. I want to get to the game that I played. I played Nevada.
I knew it. I already have it open. I like Nevada too.
Yeah, I laid 3.5 here. I had this number at 4. I think, UNM, we're starting to see some cracks develop with them. Defensively, they're a disaster. They are really bad at the rim. And I think you have a big group at Nevada. Will Baker, 7 foot. They could have a big night at the rim. They have a kid in New Mexico, Morris Udezi. He's this big hulking kid, just a huge individual. He has trouble kind of moving around and getting out in the perimeter. I think that could be a problem for them. I also don't think they're very good in general defensively. And we haven't really talked about Nevada has completely owned New Mexico. I mean, they've won 5 straight games, all by 7 or more. Now, granted, those are better New Mexico teams, this is a better New Mexico team than those. But Steve Alford's had a good read on New Mexico. That's a really good home court. I had Nevada a couple of weeks ago against Utah State, and the game was close for a while, and then they just cruised in the last 5 minutes and won by double digits. I really like Nevada. I think they're well coached. They're great as a favorite. I think they're 10-2 laying points this season. Been a great home team, 7-1 against the number. If I can get 3.5 here, I'm going to play Nevada. I think they win by 3-4 possessions. I'm going to play the Wolfpack tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I knew that's what your game was going to be. This one just screams. I love fading ranked teams, catching points. The whole world's going to want to be on New Mexico here, and rightfully so. New Mexico has done what they've needed to do, and that is beat up on crappy teams within the Mountain West, right? We saw what happened when they played a good Mountain West team in UNLV. We saw what happened when they played a good Mountain West team in Fresno State. Well, guess what? They're playing another really solid Mountain West team tonight. UNR, that place gets rocking. I haven't been to a ton of basketball arenas, but that one is really fun. And there's nothing else to do at nighttime in Reno. And they're going to be at the game. It's going to be nuts. They're going to get up huge because why? They're playing New Mexico. I actually wonder your thoughts on the total as well here. I kind of see it going. I guess I can make a case for going either way, but I kind of wonder if this isn't going to be a high scoring affair.
Yeah, I leaned over myself. As I said, I don't think New Mexico is very good on defense. Nevada's kind of up and down, pretty guard oriented. Yeah, I think it's probably a more higher scoring. It's probably first to 75 wins. That's kind of the thought I had on it.
All right. I like it.
I want to mention one thing here. Back to that Kansas game. One thing I did want to bring up, Bill Self off a loss in his career is very good. That's one thing that gave me a little pause about Kansas. But they're a
back
team.
to I wonder what it's got to be off back-to-back losses then. If he's so good off one, I'd love to know what the math is off to.
That's a great question. By the way, a pretty interesting story I wanted to bring up to you. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he's safety for the Eagles. Did you hear that he had his car stolen yesterday in Philadelphia?
At Lincoln Financial?
No, I don't believe so. He didn't say where, but he claims that he's got them on camera.
So probably at his house or at his driveway or something.
And he's mentioned that he's disgusted in a way. Not he didn't say it, but he seemed like he was pretty irritated that why would they steal my car? I mean, this is how you guys get down, stealing people's cars. But I think what he needs to understand is it doesn't matter. They don't care. Like these people are going to do whatever they have to do.
Have you ever had your car stolen?
Have I ever had my car stolen?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I've had my car stolen. And let me tell you exactly what the cop told me. And I'm flipping out and I'm losing it. And he literally looks at me and he goes, criminals are opportunistic. You gave this person an opportunity to steal your car, so they did. I was like, so I'm the dumb shit. Got it.
What I don't understand is how this happened, because when you come to the link as a player, you park in, separate parking than everyone else. I don't know where he lives, but most Eagles don't live in the city. They live in Jersey. It's right across the bridge. Now, there is a neighborhood very close to the stadium. And, Deshaun Jackson had his home robbed one time. Now, some people believe he was involved with that.
Well, also it depends on who you invite over. You invite some women over. They see you got a lot of nice stuff. They may remember.
Well, I've told stories about that. Back in the day in the clubs in Philadelphia, you would like I go to bars and meet chicks. A lot of the time they would, and this is why I'm so cognizant on bringing people home or going to people's houses. Because when I used to go to a club, there was a club in Philly. These chicks would plot on people, and they would go for a week or two, and they would see who's got the money in the club or who's doing stuff, and they would be working for people. They'd be like, "Yo, come home with me." You'd go home with them. You'd pull up to this like shitty row home, and you'd be like, "What if this is where you live?" She'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." You go inside, and there's a guy sitting on a bucket and says, "Sit down. Give me everything you got." And that was that. So you have to be careful. And I don't know what went on here, but this is a big problem in Philly. I don't know where this happened, but you're not special, bro. They don't care.
No, literally, they don't care. They don't care who you are. Here you go. I just pulled this up. Bill Self has never lost 3 in a row at KU.
Wow.
Never.
Wow. How about that? Do you really think it's going to happen here? I got to tell you.
I told you, this is my whole conundrum with this game. And then I just had to look that up. And now I really, I don't know. Well, one of the guys in the comment section was like, oh, you guys were saying it's KU's, spot to lose. Well, I do still think the Big 12 is their division to lose. They're not, above losing a couple of games here, clearly. I guarantee they're still probably the favorite.
Oh, here we go. Fact checker Josh, the guy who has to be right about everything.
Hey, Josh, show me where then, because I literally
am on he's just making it up.
Here's what I got. Ready? Jayhawks home loss to hold on. Let me I already closed it out. Hold, please.
He's a fact checker. This is his job.
Is
He
he?
has no real life.
Okay, right here. As of April 2022, Bill Self is 108-15 following a loss at Kansas, and has only had three-game losing streaks. He has never lost more than 3 games in a row. So, Josh, you are correct.
He's never lost more than 3 games.
Whoever wrote for that rival site is wrong, because that's what Google just said. So he is correct. He is correct. Congrats, Josh. You fact checked better than I should have. I should have fact checked my former employer, but I did not, and that's my fault. But Google.
I'm going to keep saying it, Kelly. Don't defend. I hate people like this. Shut up. Who cares? It's just you got it wrong.
Well, I do. I did. I want to be correct about this.
No,
but yes, it's he has 2 different times he's lost 3 in a row. Yeah. Correct, Josh? Okay. Yes, February 9th, 2013. And January 2021.
There you go, Josh. All right. Well, as far as for me, that's all I really like tonight.
Same.
I mean,
there's not a lot to like on today's card. I mean, there's some fun games, but not a ton of value.
I think for me, sometimes I'll try to find a spot in the SWAC or something, but like Mississippi Valley State is not the same. Like they're actually good against the spread this year. They've been one of the worst teams in the country over the last couple of years, but like they've been covering. So there's not as many pronounced, I think, spots. Texas.
I totally expected you to come out of the rafters with like something in the Summit League tonight.
Yeah, there is none. I mean, there's SWAC tonight, but yeah, I didn't have much. I mean, I'm kind of I kind of just stuck to just one game, and I'm gonna rock with that. I did it on Friday. I'm gonna do it here. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought. Anything you're gonna play? You said that under Duke.
Yeah, I'm gonna play that Duke Vautech under. I do like Nevada with you, and I'm still really heavily debating on and this is not normally my style, but maybe I play Baylor money line with Vautech money line.
Yeah, I think I think they're both pretty solid. I think that could be a good way to do it. I may get there with Baylor. Maybe it'll come down to 1.5, and I'll get a little bit better price on the money line. I don't know.
We'll see, because I do think that people are going to look at that and say, "No way, KU loses 3 in a row." And somebody else in the comment section was right. Bill Self has historically played really well in Waco. K-State went down there and played really well in Waco. This dominant Baylor team that we've seen over the last couple of years is starting to show glimpses of its former self. But please remember, they dropped 2 straight at home to TCU, K-State. This team is vulnerable, particularly when they turn the ball over. And if they do that tonight against KU, I think it's going to be a coin flip game, last to score wins.
Before we go, I always like to shout out live betting, because I've been betting a lot live and I've been doing well. I want to tell you a funny story. So last night, I was watching the game. I told you, I played Dallas. I liked them a couple of different ways. Didn't get it done. I made money with the Bengals. I lost some on Dallas. So I was kind of we were at that point, because when that game ended, there wasn't much else going on in sports. There was no college basketball. There was some NBA. That was about it. And the owner of the bar that I'm very cool with, he bets a lot as well. He comes over, he says, "Do you like anything in the NBA?" He's like, I want to play something. I said, "They're all started by now."
Yeah.
And I see the Lakers, okay? They're down 8 to the Blazers. I see 6.5 live. I said, I'm going to play that. I look at the score in 10 minutes. They're down 71-48 or something. It was like they had gotten destroyed in one of the quarters. I chalked it up, went home. He calls me like an hour later. I said, "Hello?" He goes, "Dude, the Lakers won." I said, "No way. They won."
Yep.
They were down like 30. How'd they win? I looked, they win 121-112. I started thinking, you're kidding me.
That team has just been wildly inconsistent all year long. I haven't been following that much NBA. I'll play some here and there. I get a tip from a buddy, and then next thing you know, you're gonna scream in the fourth quarter, because that's the NBA. You don't even need to watch the first 3 quarters unless, of course, you have a first half bet. But they just crushed the fourth quarter. I mean, now we're asking a lot for the Trailblazers. Ew.
By the way,
Back
shout
to
out as
back.
well, real quick, shout out to the Temple Owls who beat the Houston Cougars yesterday
That
on
was
the
nuts.
road in
That was
Houston.
nuts.
How about that? And we have a new number 1. It's Purdue. Sorry, Alabama.
Isn't that wild? K-State top 5 team. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Ken Palm not going to win a single Big 12 game. I tweeted that out in like October, and I was like, "Damn, we're going to be that bad, huh?"
No, listen, they've been a super surprise. Shout out to Jerome Tang.
Insane.
Done a
50
great
to
job.
1, Jeff. Right now, 50 to 1. Barstool Sportsbook to win the
Yeah,
whole thing.
I've already bet
I don't
them
think
to
they're
win the
going to.
national. I think I got
You
80 to
did?
1. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was joking with my aunt earlier. She's a K-State super fan, and she's like, "Save your money." And I go, "Are you that? Do you hate yourself that much?" I would agree. The last time K-State was in the Elite Eight was under Frank Martin, and that team was really, really fun, and we really enjoyed them. But this team is definitely better, and I would not be surprised to see them have another at least Elite Eight run. And if you do have a nice future bet at 80 to 1, you can start to find some hedging opportunities.
One of my favorite players of all time in college basketball is Jacob Pullen.
Can you ask Jacob? No, just kidding. He's going to the Texas game. He hit me up on the DMs. He's like, "Come to the Texas game." I'm like, no, bet the Jags. And he's like laughing at me. He's like, "Why would you do that?" I'm like, "Take the under. Trust me."
Him and Samardo Samuels, I believe,
yeah,
on that team as well. I loved that team. Kelly, before we go, do you want to hear my story this weekend at the bar that I had?
About the mom and daughter, or
yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, it got worse. So to set the stage,
I mean, okay. All I saw, fairness. Okay, just full disclosure. All I saw was Jeff's tweet talking about how he's hooked up with this cougar several times, and now her daughter is there.
Well, yeah.
That's all I saw.
Yeah. So I want to tell you a little bit about her. So she is Cuban. She came here like a year and a half ago. Has speaks English, but it's very shoddy. But she's cool. We have a good time together. She's great. And we I'm there. I hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks. Last time I saw her, we had hooked up, and she comes walking in, with this beautiful younger, they looked a lot like her. She goes, "This is my daughter." I said, "You're kidding." I said, "How are you?" We said hello, whatever. And it was super awkward, man. Cause I don't know if she had told her daughter about who I was, but I continued to look at this girl and I'm like, wow, this girl is stunning. She's really hot.
Do I want to know? I'm guessing she was a young mother. Cause you say cougar, but you're not out there plowing
the chick I messed with is 42.
Oh.
Daughter's 22, I think.
Yeah.
22, 23.
Okay. That makes sense.
But they got worse because I'm there and I'm drinking. I was getting pretty drunk. And about 12:30, this girl that I'm probably most serious with comes in. This African girl I mess with. She's been in some of the videos I put up. She's kind of my regular one, And I didn't know she was coming. And I'm trying to kind of maneuver around because she comes right over to me.
Of course,
and
I'm trying to
it was awkward. And she says to me, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, I just know her from here. I've seen her before." She goes, "No, you know her more than that." I said, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know her. I've seen her once."
I mean, we're not idiots. You can read body language.
She said to me, she goes, "You fucked her, didn't you?" I said, "No, I didn't."
You're a terrible liar.
And
luckily, on your face right now, I would have knocked you out. You'd have been sitting on the ground. I would have left the bar.
Well, luckily, she then the Cuban girl comes over. She goes, "Hey, we're gonna go." She's like, we're kind of tired." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Cool." It was great seeing you. She's like, "Hey, give me." And I don't know if my other girl heard. She's like, "Call me." I was like, I hope she didn't hear it, but I actually texted the Cuban girl yesterday. I was like, "Hey, listen, I just want to tell you." I said, "It's great seeing you. Your daughter's beautiful, by the way." And she goes, "Oh, thank you. I'm proud of her." I said, "Yes." But yeah, I'm actually going out with this this African chick tonight. So,
and now hopefully she doesn't watch the show and you just completely told on your fucking self. That would be the ultimate interesting. So wait, if this girl's your number one in rotation, how come she's not your main chick? What's going on?
We're getting there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know if I want to wife a chick up. I don't know if I want that. And she is, she's got her life. I have mine, I don't know. We'll see. She's cool though. We have a good time together, so we'll see.
It's just hard for me because I'm a relationship junkie. I've basically been in a relationship since I was 16. And I always subsequently find a new one before I end the other one, which makes me a terrible human being.
Well, and that said, as well, like I have to admit, like we go out, but a lot of the time when we go out, we go out and drink. Like we haven't really done like a date, like have dinner and like be sober and like
have like real life conversations.
Exactly. It's very real, and I would have no problem talking about it because they don't watch it, and it's
I will laugh if one of these girls or broads, as you like to call them, happens to catch some clip and yeah.
Oh well.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do? That said, good to see you, Kelly.
Always.
Let's hopefully have a good night tonight here as far as some gambling.
That's the plan.
When are we going to see you next here? Are you here tomorrow again or Wednesday?
So tomorrow, I mean, I can be here tomorrow if you'd like me to be. I was planning on Wednesday. Thursday, I'm going to be out of the office and hopefully going to have you fill in for me on money shots.
Well, we'll figure it out. Whatever you need from me. It definitely happens in Lancaster, PA. That's my next blog. I'm going to write a blog about how I think most people think they know what this city is, and it's completely different from what they actually think it is.
So why is okay? So I was only in Philly for 2 days, and I saw one of my best friends from high school that lives there, and it's like the inside Philly joke to make fun of people from Lancaster. I don't get it.
Yeah, so Lancaster's a county. It's 2 counties away from Philadelphia, right? It's Philly, Chester, Lancaster, and in the county, out in the suburbs, so like 20 miles away from where I live, is a big Amish community.
Yeah,
like
I knew that.
Yeah, you know that. So people, when they hear Lancaster, they immediately think Amish, okay? Because that's what it is. But we actually have a city. I live in the city. We have a city. It's a main, like just like any other city, and it's actually way different than a lot of people believe it is. And when people come here, they say, "Holy shit, I didn't even know this was here." It's like a burgeoning city. We have a huge Latin community. It's a pretty well, it's a well done city.
So I stayed in downtown Philly. How long does it take you to get to like Barstool? I think it's Samson. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. So, I mean, driving, I could be there in an hour. I mean, train, it's a little less, but I could take a train right from here to 30th Street Station. It's an hour away. Where I live now, Lancaster, like the suburb area, like the townships, it's one of the most desirable places to live in America, according to a lot of people. It's good schools. It's a nice up and coming city. So, yeah, it's fun. We have a good time. It's a nice little place. And when you come here, you'd be surprised. Barstool will come here soon, trust me. And we'll do a little video about Lancaster. So
I love that. Yeah, no, I was with my producer who was from Reading, and she was just trashing him about basically being from Lancaster. And I'm like, he just told you he's from Reading, and she's like, same. I don't care. It's not the city. I'm like, okay, got it.
I mean, it isn't, but I think once you come here, you kind of see that it is. It's that world of Amish is like another world here. Like,
of course,
we don't they don't come into the city. They
Jeff, I have a huge Amish population in my house, near my house in Florida. Huge, everywhere.
Yeah,
we're in full clothes, go to the beach, riding bikes to the beach. They have great restaurants. Great
near Sarasota, I believe.
Yeah,
I know it. They all come from here and go there.
Yeah, it's like they snowbird.
Absolutely. All right, Kelly, good to see you. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place, here on Big Men of Basketball. Have a good night. Bye-bye.